Welcome to Scary Stories, the channel that tells you scary stories.
Dogman at a gas station, as told to and read by Peter Bernard. Dear Scary Stories, this is something that happened to me last autumn. You can adapt it for your show if you like. I was driving home late at night. I don't remember the time, but it was after midnight. I was running a bit low on gas, so I decided to stop in this self-serve station on West Dickman Road. This is in Michigan, sort of northwest of Marshall and northeast of Kalamazoo. It was really quiet that night, and I hardly saw any traffic at all. After finishing my gas business, I was about to get back in the car, but something told me to go stretch my legs a bit and get a breath of fresh air. So I walked out toward the highway and yawned a bit. I was just looking around, enjoying the peace and quiet and solitude, when suddenly, down past the bank building, down to the left, I saw something come out onto the road. It looked like it had come down Avenue A or from that direction, and it just walked out onto the road and into the woods on the other side. Then it was gone. The whole thing might have taken 3 or 4 seconds. It wasn't rushing, but it was large, and it just naturally moved fast. I would say this thing was 7 or 8 feet tall, because it made everything around it look small. It was too far away for me to be certain, though. I didn't see it walk directly by anything that I could go back and measure, and I wasn't really sure exactly how far past the bank it was when I was viewing it. So it might have been smaller or larger than I thought. I just know that in that moment, I was certain I was seeing something abnormally large. It looked like a wolf, but all colored solid gray. I guess it was an anthropomorphic wolf, meaning it was slightly humanized in shape, but still more wolf than human. It looked like it could also walk on all fours, but I don't know, since I only saw it walk bipedally, and I only saw it take maybe 3 or 4 steps total before it was lost in the foliage out of my view. It did not look in either direction before walking out onto the highway, and it never looked in my direction. I was not just frightened by what I saw, I was completely unnerved in a severe way that I have never experienced any other time in my life. I found it hard to turn my will into action, I guess is one way to explain it. For instance, I wanted to get in my car and get out of there, but my body took a few seconds to realize that this was my intention. Then I turned around to walk back, but my legs grew rubbery and I nearly fell onto the pavement. Everything was spinning like I was tipsy, and it took a great deal of concentration just to get in and close the car door. Once that door was locked, though, my entire body went into shivers, and I felt like I was going to black out. My head hurt, and I was seeing spots in front of my eyes. I wanted to drive, but it was hard enough in that moment just to breathe. I felt so cold. It was like all my body heat was being tapped from me. I held onto the steering wheel and let the bad feelings wash over me until they subsided and I felt strong enough to drive. The entire way home was a struggle, and I never felt so emotional in all my life. Nevertheless, I kept driving until I was safely home. Then I literally ran inside my house and fell apart emotionally. Even at the time, my reaction seemed abnormally huge for something I saw maybe 2 blocks away from me. Yes, it was a giant predator, but it never even looked in my direction. So why did my body react so strongly to it? I'm not a hunter, and I've never done any time in the service. So maybe it was just that I'd never been confronted before with my own mortality? Or maybe I'm just a chicken and I need to grow up. But in any case, the most frightening thing I ever saw, without any doubt whatsoever, was the Michigan Dogman.
Do you have a scary story you want us to read on the show? Just call our voicemail hotline, 804-LIST-SCARY. That's 804-537-2279. And now for something completely scary.
A werewolf in Illinois, as told to and read by Peter Bernard. Dear Scary Stories, I saw a dogman or werewolf with my own eyes about a month ago. It happened on Milwaukee Avenue around 2 or 3 in the morning outside a hotel that my wife and I were staying at. We were heading north to Wisconsin, but we had just passed Chicago, and I think this all took place in Illinois. The map I'm looking at says Northbrook, Illinois, so that must be the name of this location. What happened was that we were traveling a great distance and miscalculated how long the trip would take. It became apparent we would need to crash for a few hours. I wanted to just pull off the road and take a nap, but my wife insisted we splurge for a hotel. Grudgingly, I agreed to stop and pay hundreds of dollars for a few hours of sleep. I couldn't get comfortable in the hotel bed. I was in such a bad mood about my wife overruling me. I would have been fine napping in the car. We probably would have reached our destination before noon and my wife could have slept then. I just couldn't calm myself down and I wasn't getting any sleep. Eventually, I got dressed and went out to walk around outside and try to make myself tired. I went to my car and pretended I needed to check something in it just to not look too crazy. Eventually, I found myself leaning on the car roof with both arms, looking at the stars and enjoying the night. Something in my peripheral vision caused me to look across the street, and I saw a figure emerging from the forest or woods over there into this clearing. It seemed to be a large, muscular dude, so I was a bit alarmed at first. He seemed to be walking with such determination that I found it a bit unnerving, and he was making swift progress, too. This guy walked right out onto the highway and just kept going. Nothing slowed him down. When he got out onto the road, though, I could see that this was no regular guy. He appeared to have the head of a dog or wolf, even though the body seemed to be a man or a chimpanzee or something like that. Either a primate or a guy in a gorilla suit, but the head was like a dog or a coyote. I don't remember the markings or color. I just remember ducking down behind my car and watching it the rest of the way through the windows of my car. I didn't want the thing to see me, and I don't think it did. So the monster crossed the highway and went into these woods right past the river over there. That was the last I saw it. I got back inside the hotel as quickly as I could, paranoid the entire way. I was convinced something was following me, and I kept looking over my shoulder, but nothing was there. The speed of the upright walking wolf had put the fear of God into me, and I was aware I was not on the top of the food chain any longer. Once I got inside, I ran to bed, but I still could not sleep. In the morning, I was an utter wreck. I explained the story to my wife, and she agreed to drive the rest of the way. There was just no way I was going to be able to do it because I had seen a werewolf in Illinois. I was curious when the next Northeast Comic-Con is and who's going to be appearing there. Boy, was I surprised when I checked their website and found out it says I'm going to be there. And it's Thanksgiving weekend. I did my due diligence as a fake news journalist and discovered that yes, in fact, they are offering to pay for me to go out and appear as myself, braving the traffic to and from Boston on one of the craziest weekends of the year. So I guess if you live in Massachusetts and you're bored of tofurkey after Thanksgiving, then come on down and say hi to Futurama's own Billy West, Godzilla's co-star Akira Takarada, and other luminaries who I assume must live near Boston. Sounds like fun. See you there.
Come back for more scary stories.